And now we'll have a look at the way that the music and the slides are going to work together, and we do that in the timeline. The timeline is down here on the bottom line. Just click on that and you can see that each of these little boxes with a number in represents a slide. As I click on them, the slide that's represented by that little square shows up on the screen. Each one is on for 3.5 seconds, so from 31 to 34.5 seconds between number 27 and 28. And the fade is 1400 milliseconds, that's the grey line. We can individually change the length of the fades by just grabbing that, holding the left mouse button down, grabbing the line and shortening or lengthening it. And we can change the position of the slide, the time that it comes into the show, by moving that again, dragging it with the left mouse button down along the timeline. If we go to the icon at the bottom right hand corner, this waveform icon, and click on that, now that we've got music in the show, when we click on it, it will just import that waveform so that we can see the slides and the waveform together. If we go to the end of the show, just go along here to the end, and we can see that the music ends at this point here. This blue line is the music just faded out at the end, but the slides at the moment finish before the end of the music, and so I'm just going to correct that. I'm going to take slide 60 and move it along to the sort of last flourish in the music, which is this last chord here, and I'm going to just shorten the time that it fades in, just to have a quick and snappy ending to that. Now we've got a long gap between slide 59 and slide 60, and so just a quick way to spread the slides evenly all along the timeline is to select them all. Control A on the keyboard selects them all, and they all have this blue highlight to show that they're selected. And go to timed points, arrange selected points. So if you only have 6 selected, it will just select the 6 points, but when I've done Control A, it's going to select all of the points in the project, and it's going to arrange all of them along the timeline. So I click that and you'll see they've all now moved along the timeline, and number 60 is right at the end of the music. Once you've done that, go back to the beginning. We can toggle between the timeline and the slides like this, and use the mouse wheel to go to the beginning of the selection. We can click on any of the slides here and hit the play button, and it will start the show from that point. Or if we hit the preview button, it will start at the beginning of the show and preview the show until you press escape to stop. Let's do that. Hitting escape now. Going back into the timeline, you can actually now look at the waveform, and as you see the music rising and falling, you can move the beginning of the transition to points in the music where there is a definite beat, and you can do that and keep previewing it until you're happy with your show. And when you're happy with it, just hit the create button, and that's going to make the executable file. When we hit the create button, you get lots of options now. The one at the bottom is the executable file for PC. That is going to just wrap up everything that's in this show into one single file that you can transport, put onto a CD or a memory stick, and take to another computer where you can play the show on another computer. you can make a screensaver, you can publish to YouTube or make a DVD video disc, for example. In the newest version, the 5.7, which is in beta form at the moment, you can also make a slideshow that will play on a Mac. But here we're going to go for a slideshow for PC, which is executable file for PC. Click on that. We need to tell it where to put the show. Libraries, P2E, Paris, and it's going to be called project1.exe. Let's save that. And in a moment we can go back and play that on its own without the project being opened. But before we leave Pictures to Exe, it might be useful to back the project up. File, create backup in zip. Find on your computer a different hard drive or an external drive. Back it up, P2E backups, and we'll call it Project 1. Save. So if you ever lose or damage your project file, you can go back to the saved one and open that one up, and it's got everything in it to work with your music, your pictures, all your fades, all the editing information is already in there. So now we can close Pictures to Exe. We'll save the project first and go back into our computer, file structure, into the P2E library, Paris, and find the executable file, which is probably at the bottom. Project1.exe is what we've just made. Let's double click it. And hit escape to stop, and that's the project file, that's the executable file that you can put onto a disk or a memory stick and take away and play on any computer that's Windows based. And that's really all there is to it. There are lots of refinements that you can learn to do as you go along, but that's a quick way to make a slideshow to music with Pictures to Exe.